Hello everybody and welcome back to the KCM. It's time for the semi-finals. PVT. We knew this was going to happen, Shun, but here we are.
Yeah.
We're starting out with Snow versus Light.
Snow
going to be spawning here in the bottom left, Light top left on Dominator. A good way to start out this series, but the online polls are pretty clear. 82% chance for a victory for Protoss this week. Kind of crazy that Light has been underperforming this much.
Yeah, he's not been doing super hot lately. I hope he can turn it around. And inversely, Best, Bisu, and Snow all seem pretty fantastic at the moment in terms of their form, so that's probably a good reflection of why the poll has come out that way. Yes, we do have Speed, Sharp, and Light. They're all great players. I mean, Royal's okay as well. But the reality is, I think these Protoss guys right now are just playing out of their minds, so it kind of makes sense that the poll would be dictating this.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine anybody able to run through Snow and Best. But maybe we can get a victory here from Light early on to really give Terran a fighting chance. Anything can happen in these semifinals and finals, because all the points that have gone into the tournament up until this point, all the wins and losses that have happened up until now, none of it really matters. It's all about these best of ones, and of course there's one revive, so possibility of a best of three between a couple of these players if it comes to that.
Yeah, seems like just going to be a 12 gas here from Light. Nothing super crazy and aggressive like Sharp might want to go for, which we expect of Light. He's a very strong mid-game centric player, doesn't want to necessarily go for any early cheese. Sometimes he'll pull out like a 2-factory or something, and I guess you have to consider 2-factory on a map like this, but I think the reality is that build's just not successful enough to go for. Like, he's just happy to get everything going as normal and try and get as strong of a mid-game timing as possible here. And Dominator, you know, it's a very Terran-centric map. We used to think it was Protoss favored, but Light himself kind of figured out that you can abuse the center of the map a lot when setting up attacks and choking up the Protoss with those tight little corridors and using those cliff edges to kind of bottleneck the Protoss. So, I mean, let's see if he can execute that here today and take the fight to Snow, who's been performing pretty out of his mind lately.
Yeah, I would be super surprised to see him go for a 2-factory play. It is very popular on this map. We've even seen it in the ASL, but I agree with you. It's not really that great of a build, and Protoss players have been really solid at identifying it and just answering appropriately. And so we're just going to see a Nexus coming up here from Snow. Light going to go ahead and grab his CC up on high ground. Try to avoid making a bunker here if he can, because there's not going to be a lot of pressure coming from Snow. And he's going to have 3 Marines plus a Vulture here very soon.
Yeah, pretty greedy Nexus from Snow. 20, rangeless expand. Just, you know, cutting a few corners there. Didn't skip the Dragoon. You could skip the Dragoon. But this is about as greedy as you can be while still being reasonably safe. I mean, this is still technically punishable, but like we say, there's no 2-factory here or anything that Light's doing. Let's see if Light skips the bunker. He should be able to get away with not making a bunker for quite some time. So he's going to throw down his CC at a pretty nice crisp timing. Oh, it's going to be a Citadel follow-up from Snow going straight into DTs here. This is a very clean, crisp timing. So if Light, you know, doesn't say get a secondary backup turret or doesn't have enough mines in the right locations, this could be disastrous for Light. I'm curious to see if Snow is going to try and go straight into a robo for DTs to be dropped. There's the robo now, so it's going to be DT drop.
It's funny how Snow likes to throw this into his play every once in a while. It's so powerful when it comes from him because his Reaver control is so good. Everyone expects him to go Reaver. When he throws out a DT play, maybe he's not as practiced with it, but it really catches players by surprise. Often they're not quite as prepared as they would be for someone, say, like Best, to throw out a DT play like this. Snow gonna have to deal with a bit of pressure here at the front, and Light may be able to place some mines right in front of Snow's base, which could be a bit of a problem for him. Moving these Marines around the side, he's got quite a few ready to go. Vultures cannot be allowed into the base of Snow here, and it looks like Light's got a bit of an angle to potentially run by. Nope, just gonna throw down some mines at the third and back off. Now, those two mines there are not really gonna help him against the DTs coming in at all. In fact, with the DT drop, any mines out on the map are not really going to help out too much. There's going to be that shuttle coming out here pretty soon, and if nothing's ready here in the main base, if there's not mines and turrets, you could be in a lot of trouble.
I mean, the engineering bay is just barely going to be in time if he starts the turrets immediately. He's going eBay Armory. There's 3 tech paths you can do as Terran, basically, against Protoss. It's the Armory, the eBay, and the Academy. And more often than not, you'll see Engineering Bay Armory, because they want to, like, turtle up and get a strong attack timing. You can go something like Armory Academy. That's a much more aggressive way of playing, because it gives you early scanners, so you can pressure the Protoss and have scans to shut down DTs, halting your advance and what have you. He sees the shuttle with the mine, but I'm not sure he was paying attention to notice it. You can see he's starting to make the turrets now. These should, like, just barely be finishing as the DTs are popping out of the shuttle here. So we'll see if everything lines up nicely to defend this from Light.
Here it goes. 2 DTs here in the main. Gonna kill this missile turret. Missile turret goes down, but they take a lot of damage. Mine! Very good hot pick up there from Snow, keeping those 2 DTs alive here in a tense situation. Gonna go after this SCV on the turret. Could target down the turret as well, but he's very close to the vision of that secondary turret under the eBay right now. Has to be very wary of that. Gonna target down these mines. Gets the supply depot as well. Very good play so far from Snow. Can he get any more damage here, though? It's nothing critical just yet, and he's invested a lot to make this happen.
Yeah, it's good play from Light to float the barracks over the turret in the natural as well, so there's no counterplay from Snow to just, you know, target fire that down. He's gonna just hit this supply depot behind the minerals, and honestly, this isn't that bad of a hold from Light. Yes, Snow is getting guaranteed damage done as a follow-up here, which is nice for Snow to get compensation for going for this build to begin with, but the reality is this is actually pretty typical of a Terran hold. Like, as long as you're not taking critical damage and GGing early because they've just overrun you and targeted down all your turrets, isn't too bad. And Shuttle's on really low HP, so there's a chance of sniping that with a Goliath now. So eventually he will clean up these DTs. He's just trying not to be supply blocked for too long. And it does look like Snow's going to get enough supply depots here to really shut down the production of Light, at least for the time being, while those scanners come online. Light going to be expanding quickly to compensate at a third, and the mineral only being taken now by Snow as well.
Wow, that's quite a few supply depots. I mean, that does hurt, and he is supply blocked right now. He's trying to take a third to compensate for this damage that went down. Snow definitely going to be getting greedy right now. He knows that there's not going to be a very good push timing. With the scanners coming up so late, you know that there's only going to be maximum 2 scans to try and push forward with. Oh, he sees the third. Very big moment here as Snow gets ahead of the tanks of Light. He will be able to deny this base. This is going to start to get worse and worse for Light.
Yeah, no. This went from being like an okay spot for Light to being like pretty bad. He's in a lot of trouble right now. He has been delayed in his production quite significantly. He doesn't have that many tanks right now to do a counterattack or anything. He just has to take another base, and he's going to be doing that at the mineral only now, which also gives him less access to gas and less mineral fields to mine from. This is not ideal. This is like third best option for the Terran, which actually ends up being pretty bad in this scenario. It would have been better if he was able to get that third base online on time, but now he's so far behind the schedule of what Snow's lined up to do, and Snow can do pretty much what he wants. He could go into Arbiter from here, or he could just do a normal like Shuttle Reaver style. I think that's what he's going for. He's just going to transition into a bit more of a traditional way of playing rather than you know, trying to double dip with that Templar tech and go straight into Arbiters here. And I think, oh, this Vulture's picking up some kills. I mean, this isn't too bad here from Light. He's getting some kind of counter damage. Pretty much anything is good for him, considering how far behind he is. But the reality is, Snow can kind of do what he wants, which is why we don't see a commitment into Arbiter tech, because he's got such flexibility and oxygen available to him while Light's trying to play catch-up that he can basically do anything.
Yeah, Snow's not really in a good position to break this base here, but he will be soon. He's definitely getting the tech online that he needs. Actually, possibility of a double expand here. Snow gonna get a little bit greedy rather than trying to put some pressure on. Aside from just picking off this turret, maybe. Just kind of clearing the high ground here, making it a bit uncomfortable for Light. You'd like to have mines up on that high ground and some tank coverage so that they can't easily walk over here and start to hit your SCVs from the high ground, whether that be with Reavers or with Storms. You can see 2 tanks in that mineral line. If Storms come online and Snow wants to attack in here, a Storm in that mineral line is going to be absolutely huge value there as he goes forward.
Yeah, I think Snow will probably want to expand at the 6 o'clock eventually as well, but for now he wants to put on some pressure. He wants to grow while applying as much pressure to Light as he possibly can muster. And this is a nice little attempt here. He's like opening up this position to be harassed further by clearing out this turret. This now is a point of weakness and contention for Light. Gonna keep him pinned back and worried about these kind of drops, because Snow's gonna keep coming in here and sniping turrets and making it easier to navigate around the main base of Light and cause disruptions and turnarounds with his army. And Snow is just going to happily expand behind this and just keep growing. And that's basically StarCraft 101, to continue growing while you're leaning on your opponent like this. So pretty masterfully done from Snow, despite being a simple tactic.
That was so sick. Did you see that there was a tank underneath that eBay? It was sieged up, firing on the Zealots there, and Snow still managed to dodge every shot with his Reaver. Kind of crazy.
Kind of nuts.
Yeah, it's so impressive every time we see it. But Snow here leaning even harder on Light as he gets the Templar out. I think we're going to see him come forward and try to storm that mineral line here in just a moment. Like, he definitely has the muscle to come over with a 50 supply advantage to take control of that high ground and just deny any mining going on at this third base. And that's really going to put the nail in the coffin here for Light, who's trying to add on more production here to try and catch up, to keep up with Snow. But he still hasn't secured this high ground yet, and Snow is already here. He's ready to take this fight. Zealot speed just finished. He's going to push up onto the high ground, start to shove everything back, and the Storms are going to come through in a second. Oh, he's going to lose he loses the shuttle. Big kill there on the shuttle, but can these Storms come down on the mineral line? There it is. Huge Storm on the mineral line, killing so many SCVs and softening up these tanks. One more Storm here is going to get rid of both of those tanks, and of course, the SCVs have to be pulled. Not huge damage on the SCV line, but enough to really hurt the economy of Light. He's already taken enough damage as it is, so this is really starting to add up.
Yeah, Light technically holds there. He's got a pretty decent setup in the back line of those tanks, especially from the main base rim. But, I mean, the reality is Snow's just cycling out Storms and keeping the Terran army as small as possible, so counterattacks are a minimal threat here, which will allow Snow to continue on this expansion warpath. I mean, he's going up to 6 bases, and Light is on 3 with a mineral only. This is about as suboptimal for Terran as you can get without just having to GG early. So Light technically in the game. Nice attack here from Light, going into rally point, killing a High Templar and some probes with these vultures. Pretty minimal investment for a pretty big reward. This is not bad at all. This is exactly the kind of things Light needs to do to come back in this game, shaving off as much of the economy off the Protoss as possible and reducing the utility that's going to be available to Snow to keep siphoning off the economy of Light as well in the way of storm drops and what have you. And now Light also sees this base at the 6 o'clock, so not only doing damage here, but getting good scouting information. He can kind of try and size up what comeback mechanics he needs. So first things first, he needs to secure this 4th base location, but Snow, being super annoying with a shuttle and 2 Reavers, he's going to delay this.
As he does. This is typical Snow. Keeping the pressure on with Reavers, making nothing easy for the Terran player. Everything here is difficult. And he's just barely out of range of that tank, by the way, landing with confidence.
Nuts.
And, I mean, that's hard to tell. It's really hard to tell how far the range is on that tank, especially at the angle like that. The cross angle there is so hard. Yeah, the diagonal is so hard to tell. But he's going to come up onto the high ground now, just starting to shove in here with some... oh, that's a great storm as well, getting rid of a lot of these vultures. Gonna kill off the SCV. Seems like there's enough tanks here, but this is still slowing down Light by so much.
Yeah, one thing I do love from Light is he preempted the fact that that SCV would die, and he had another SCV showing up to continue building the CC. So the reduction on build time, not that big of deal here for Light. He's gonna eventually get this base set up, but this is already such a crazy game from Snow. Like, he's taking the base at 3 o'clock now. He's even building some cannons on this pizza slice here. I mean, the world is Snow's oyster as long as he doesn't make any blunders and trades. Ooh, almost got a massive mine connection on those zealots there, but this is really nice from Snow. He's going to kill the mineral line of Light, who's not paying attention and doesn't pull the SCVs back in time. He's cycling out so much of the Terran's economy, and like I say, as long as he doesn't lose too much units, like mainly just zealots and then backs out with the dragoons, he can just do this forever, and Light will never have enough army to counterattack and punish this, especially when he's split on 2 fronts, defending this pizza slice at the mineral only, and now this newly acquired 4th base. Like, Light is just pinned right now.
I think quite a few zealots went down to a mine there, just off screen while he was doing all that microing with the shuttle. Some small things are going right for Light. Like, he's got this 4th base online. He's really upgraded his total factory count here. I'm really reaching for ideas of how Light can potentially come back in this game, but I think there's still a hope and a prayer if he does an amazing push through the middle of the map like he's known to do here on Dominator.
Yeah, he just needs to find the right timing to do that without obviously throwing the game, and that's what Snow's looking for. He's looking to do maneuver warfare, and as soon as Light tries to come out, he wants to punish that. So we see this army here over at the 4th base location, but Light, he's been pinned back, so he's actually not tried to move out really at all right now, besides, you know, the vulture raiding parties. And honestly, those vulture raiding parties have been pretty successful. This is a bad idea from Snow, though. He's gonna lose both of the shuttles before getting any High Templars out. Bit of a misplay from Snow, and exactly that's what I was talking about. One thing that Snow can't afford to do is a bad trade like that, because now that's going to trigger the Terran to come out onto the map. Light's going to push now.
Suddenly, the supplies have really evened out here, and yeah, you're right. Light is going to start to push out. He's unsieged everything. He's going to start to move forward here. The threat of Templar drops has just disappeared with those 2 shuttles, and so he can bring everything to bear here. Doesn't need to defend on 2 fronts like you were talking about earlier. He can make a move, and I'm a little bit curious and concerned here where Light is headed. It looks like he's headed to the right-hand side. No, here he goes. Here's the big move. Going into the center. This is exactly what I expect from him, and this is a very good move.
Yeah, he's got the vultures on the right-hand flank to cover that as well, with the vultures and the majority of the tanks set up in the center, trying to bait Snow forward. And as soon as Snow shies away from that with his tail between his legs, then Light seizes a lot more ground. You give this guy an inch, he's going to take a mile to set up into a better and better position. These tanks are reasonably well clumped up, though. Maybe Snow can still do something about this. Here comes a massive string of zealots trying to get to the front line. Lots of vultures to buffer against that, though, and a D-Matrix as well to slow down the advance of those dragoons, getting to optimal fire pressing. Beautiful storms, though, on the back line of tanks. This is not too bad at all from Snow. He's crippled the majority of that tank count, but technically Light wins the fight, and the majority of that supply lead for Snow is in probes, so there's not a lot of standing army right now for Snow. If Light can somehow find the tempo to start knocking down these bases, he could win. The problem is that Snow traded off just enough of the chunk of Light's army there that Light doesn't feel confident enough to push.
Yeah, he doesn't feel like he can push right now. He's just finished up +2. Gonna have +3 on the way here soon. Moving backwards now. I think it's a reasonable idea after losing that many tanks. I don't think he was going to be able to hold the middle, but perhaps he can take this base in the top right. Maybe he can get this extra base online and then wait a little bit to refill that army count so that he can push into the center again. He's actually moving through the right-hand side, and Snow's moving on the left, so we may be seeing Snow going in for an attack on this mineral only, and Light kind of out of position to quickly fall upon this. He is moving over with a lot of his tanks. Looks like he's going to be here just in time to shut this down. Storm on a lot of these tanks as they push forward. Siege up is a bit late. Nice D-Matrix there on a front tank. Storm in the back line would be devastating. Not going to happen, though. Just enough tanks here, it looks like, to hold off this attack.
This isn't bad at all for Light, honestly. If you can get this base in the top right pocket, undeterred and operational, this is actually not bad at all for Light. Like, he's not doing super well right this second. But the longer this goes on, if he can creep across the map and knock out this base at the 3 o'clock or something and split the map kind of in half diagonally, there's a way he can definitely win this game still. And he's trading pretty okay against Snow. Snow, though, coming in again with some speed shuttles. Another beautiful preemptive D-Matrix to try and shut that down. A pretty okay Storm to start things off. There's not a lot of meat on the bone here for Snow. He's trying to do a lot with a little. Does manage to get deep enough, though, to get a Storm off on that mineral line. There's not a lot of SCVs mining here anymore. Luckily for Light, he's got this base in the top right to kind of compensate. But Snow technically shaving off enough of Light's army to keep him on the back foot. So Snow's going to keep growing, popping up these bases, and it's going to be a little bit of time before Light can start playing whack-a-mole.
Light's going to get a drop going over at this base at the center right. Perhaps that can draw enough attention from Snow to give him some breathing room here, but a bunch of shuttles making their way over is probably going to shut that down quickly. And 3 shuttles with a bunch of ground army as well may be just enough to break this fresh base. How much does he have here? 1 tank's not quite going to cut it. A lot of zealots dropping out here. Storms on the mineral lines as well. Oh my goodness. So much damage as he drops below 100 supply.
So many SCVs just fallen there. I mean, he is technically killing this base on the top left, but it's not that big of deal for Snow. He's got so many additional mining bases that have just been built that losing that base in the top left, that's more of a placeholder expansion, really. Not costing Snow anything to lose that at the present time, and even going to be pulling units from Light out of position to be counterattacked to shave off even more of the artillery that's available to the Terran. And now another big attack from Snow as he tries to ram it down this mineral location. This time a preemptive SCV pull. That's something that we need to see more out of Light if he wants any chance of winning this game, to prevent losing any more of those precious workers. He cannot afford to take any more economic damage from Snow in this game. And the writing's on the wall for Light. He's struggling to stabilize while Snow is just continuing to grow. I'm a little bit worried for Light now. I don't see an easy path to victory from here.
No, it's been a hard road already, but it's getting worse and worse. Here comes some drops over towards the top left. Oh, is this empty? Really? Just 2 empty shuttles coming in here. Maybe he wants to throw those away so he can replace them with higher HP shuttles?
Yeah, maybe. That's it. Yeah, that probably is it.
Yeah, he's going to be...
Go on.
Pull Light out of position, yeah.
Yeah.
The really damaged shuttles, it makes sense. You don't want to put a bunch of high-value units into those and have them get sniped down really quickly. Snow is about to max out here, so he can definitely replace that. Coming over towards this top right. I don't think this army can actually win, this army of Snow, but maybe he can target down a few tanks. And just killing off a couple of tanks here is worth. With this much of a supply lead, any tank kills are going to be very worthwhile for him.
He actually doesn't have much in the way of army. Like, the supplies are very deceptive. Like, there's hardly any SCVs for Light, and there's a lot of probes for Snow. Like, we're talking like 70, maybe even 80 probes for Snow. So, relatively speaking, it's kind of normal army supply. There's still an advantage for Snow in the factor of army, but not as big as it seems at first glance at those supplies. But it doesn't matter because Snow's going to keep churning out units, whereas Light will not be able to afford to keep up with that production. So these little small pockets of resistance are going to be easily mopped up now by Snow. Light has to tap out. GG is called, and a very convincing win on the board for the Protoss squad already.
On to game number 2. Snow down here, the bottom right. Speed in the top right. No miracle victory for Light in that last game. Taking out Snow would have put his team in a much better position to win this series. Still, there's always that revive, so you can't rule out, you know, the Protoss squad bringing back Snow, but there's just a ton of great Protoss players in this lineup. I mean, even Best, like I could imagine Best all killing this week. Like he is on such another level right now.
I wouldn't even say the words even best, because, I mean, he just simply has the best Protoss versus Terran macro style out of every single Protoss player on the planet. Like, yes, Snow is better at controlling his Reavers and has some finesse to his play and, you know, slightly better micro, you could argue. But the reality is, when it comes to just raw, macro, solid PvT, Best, pun intended, is the best in the business. So, yeah, he certainly is capable of smashing face here as well. That's probably why those statistics were so one-sided, like 81 to 19, just because of the fact that Best and Snow are in this squad, which are both very big heavy hitters and have totally different styles. And then even Bisu, he's been a lot more on form in recent time than he was at the start of the year. So yeah, even Bisu could do some heavy lifting here in the squad.
Absolutely. That's why we saw that heavily weighted in Protoss's favor early predictions. Still, Speed is a very good contender. He is so much better, I feel, in offline or in online play than he is in offline play. I feel like that's definitely a thing, especially when we're talking about the round of 16 of any ASL. He always seems to have a hard time once the pressure's really on, and he's in that group stage. So, here, I think that he can really let his feathers fly. He can really open his wings and do us a solid here and bring this to a longer series by taking out Snow first.
I mean, I'm hopeful. I'm in the same train of thought as you that, yes, technically, he's going to lose his scouting SCV really early on. There is no fakery, though. It's not going to be like a cancel range into Citadel or anything spicy like that. I think Speed will be pretty darn sure what it's going to be, just like a 23 Nexus or something. But he doesn't know for sure, so he will be having a little bit of a niggle of doubt in the back of his mind, and well, he should against Snow. Because Snow is capable of pretty much any range of play under the sun, despite favoring that Reaver opening. But I've never really thought of Speed as this like Terran versus Protoss guy. Like he's you know, he's got some pretty good micro and his APM's great and all this, but he's so much better in TVZ than he is TVP, in my opinion.
Yeah, his TVT is pretty solid as well. We'll see how he does here. I like his Vulture play in TVP. He seems to be on a similar level to Sharp when it comes to controlling his Vultures and getting in and getting damage done, but just the level of defensive Protoss play from Snow has really been raised up in the recent era. Like, we can see it a lot in his PvZ play, but in PvT as well. He's just very good at not making any mistakes.
Yeah, I'm hoping we see at least a good performance from him today. And this isn't the worst of openers. I mean, the CC is pretty cleanly timed here. He's playing safe with the bunker. Everything seems good. I mean, he's mining his natural before the Protoss is mining theirs. That's a very good sign that the Terran is in a pretty okay position. And, you know, he's actually needs to be careful. This Vulture is almost getting pinned in that top left corner, but it's also putting Snow out of position. Speed looking to potentially punish that were he to chase the Vulture. But you can see he stopped this army as soon as he sees there's no Dragoons chasing that Vulture in the top left anymore. So he was thinking about punishing Snow if Snow were to continue chasing that vulture to the corner of the map, and then thought better of it when he couldn't see those Dragoons anymore. But I like the idea that he's ready to pressure Snow at the moment's notice. He's going to wait now for that second tank to show up before going. But this is 4 Dragoons. This is nothing to sneeze at. I mean, he has to micro well here. He needs to get a vulture in the face of Speed while pushing forward if he wants to do anything here. It's much safer to wait for a third tank or just not go at all.
Yeah, I think we might see him just fall back. He's already in a good spot when it comes to the map position, being in the top right. He can easily expand to his third base, which is away from the Protoss player. If the positions were reversed, it would be a lot worse here for Speed. Doesn't want to throw away the opportunity here to just get that nice, easy third base online and transition into a stronger mid game.
Yeah, and the reality is Snow has to expand, well, if he wants to, do so in a more clean fashion, has to expand towards the Terran if he takes this third at the 3 o'clock. So, yeah, the spawns are really favoriting Speed right now. And here comes the massive turret ring set up from him. It is going to be that Reaver opening from Snow, unlike against Light, so we'll probably see some pretty stylistically true to the nature of Snow and trying to put on some pressure with those Reavers and really get into the face of Speed. But with that turret ring starting to be set up already, it's going to be harder for Snow to accomplish that. He's going to have to rotate all the way around to the main base from the left-hand side. Even got some mines here on the periphery to try and... Ooh, it's just out of range of the Reaver.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me. That's crazy.
Wow.
I mean, he almost placed that mine perfectly, but missed.
It's like he knew the mine was there.
Yeah, it's almost like he knew. eBay floating over top of the turret is going to be a little bit annoying. Hard to target that down. He's poking in to just see what's up here. One single tank is defending, but Speed's moving out. Speed is going to try and put on some pressure while the Reaver's out of position and looking to deal more damage in the main. Reaver's on the ground right now. Is Speed going to... Okay, Snow actually sees that. He's going to turn around and start to head back home. He can rip this army apart if he gets the Reaver here to help.
Yeah, he's got such good control. Here comes the 3 tanks. Does try and get one volley on that. Shuts it down. The good body blocking as well. With the vultures wrapping around the back of those Dragoons to cut off their retreat as well. Here comes the Reaver support. Couldn't get a mine down in the critical location, but has got a pretty good tank set up on this left-hand flank. Needs to shuffle back, though. One of those tanks dangerously low is going to fall to the Dragoon. And now a massive mine connection. Also helping kill another tank. This is an okay setup from Speed, but it's not good enough. Snow is going to clean this up eventually, but if Speed can kill enough of these probes and maybe kill the Reaver, that'd be great. He just needs to snipe as many probes as possible to make this worth it.
Yeah, he's going after a lot of probes here. Going behind the mineral line as well to dud the Scarab. Really good play from him. Getting some hits with these mines as well. Oh, man, it's really a shame that Speed decided to siege up when he did, because that mine connection actually really saved Snow in this position. He's dealing so much damage to that Reaver. He's almost got the kill on that. Still killing more probes here. He's still sending in more vultures too, by the way. He's just rallying everything forward here. There's only one Dragoon in the wall. He could potentially get in again to start dealing some more damage. Just drop the mines right here in front of the Dragoon. If any of these connect, he can get back in here once again. He's looking for it, but it looks like everything will be defended properly. That Dragoon will end up going down, but Snow holds for now.
I mean, the spawning positions is going to make this really hard for Snow now. He will not be able to stabilize his 3 o'clock so easily. And building probes there, they might just end up dying to vulture raids as well. Snow's going to try and establish some control over this base right now while he still can. Get over here and sweep all these mines, get some Dragoons body blocking the ramps and what have you. Nice attack from Speed. I really like that. He's done a great job of siphoning off enough of the economy. He's coming in again, though, with some vultures. Can he get the surround and lay down some mines? He thinks better of it with the Reaver still camping out there. Just doesn't want to lose too many of these precious units. He's actually ahead in supply of Snow for the time being, and undeterred in his own factory count. Going to be going up to 6 factory worth of production, so he can still apply a lot of pressure with these 2 bases. He could just kind of, lean off ease off the gas a little bit and go straight into a third base, but he's done so much damage to the economy of Snow. He's thinking about staying on 2 base just for a little bit of time, and will take a delayed third command center now.
Yeah, it actually looks to me like he's abandoned getting this third command center. It seems to me like he wants to instead look towards just a straight up push directly towards this third base. It's so close to him. It's a very straightforward way to win if he can get on to that third, get right up next to that low ground, force a fight from Snow, and kill that base. He basically he should be able to win this game in that case. He's right in line with Snow in terms of the supply count. He's managed to keep right up with that, and he's actually going to start to extend a bit of a lead here, I should say. Once 6 factories come online, once he really starts to crank out units, it's going to be hard for Snow to keep up. There's a really good opportunity right now with that first attack that Speed could get the layup here and actually just cram it down on this third. He takes the CC behind this, but I guarantee you he's about to push this base. He's going for it.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be applying pressure to Snow, but with the insurance policy of that third command center. And beautiful Scarab connections from Snow. Takes out 2 of the siege tanks, but he gets the shuttle on the exit vector. So a little bit of counterplay from both sides here. Needs to be careful not to lose too many of these units for free. If he wants any hope of squashing Snow like a bug, he can't take any more trades like that. He's so close to getting in the face of Snow and starting to lay siege to this 3 o'clock base, but can't afford to take any more massive Scarabs like that. Here comes another round of shuttle with just a single Reaver now. Does he target it down in time? Couldn't quite get off the Scarab. Bit of a miss micro there from Snow, actually. This is a pretty good spread of tanks as well. Doesn't target that down, though, so we'll be clearing out enough of the Terran units to hold him at bay just for the time being. This is actually quite masterfully done for Snow, especially considering he messed up by getting the Scarab off. He's still just barely holding on.
No, he hit the Scarab in the center of all the tanks. I'm not sure. Did you not see the Scarab get off there? It really landed in the middle of those 3 tanks, softened them up a lot. He did take damage on the Reaver. Look at this, 13 kill Reaver. That is crazy amounts of damage done by Snow. Speed on the back foot here. He's going to have to take the consolation prize of just holding this third base. It's a good thing he decided to throw that down, because at least he has something to fall back to.
Yeah, he's got 7 factories worth of production now, does Speed, but I mean, honestly, Snow's traded cost efficiently enough that it's actually keeping Speed on the back foot for a little bit, and now leg enhancements are done, and that's a big turning point in this matchup for Protoss. As soon as the leg enhancements come online, so much easier to shut down these Terran advances, so Speed will be thinking twice about trying to ram it down on this vertical access again. Has 2 vultures kind of harassing at this 3 o'clock location, denying some gas being mined. It's not a big deal, but it's a small win here. Any victory is a victory here for Speed. He's already done a lot of damage in the early game. He's just trying to make sure that Snow can't catch up too easily in this game, but honestly, this isn't looking too bad for Snow. He's going to get his 4th base online at a reasonable timing. It's about as standard timing as you can get. Like 10 minutes is super greedy, 11 minutes is meta, 12 minutes, 13 minutes, that's pretty standard and orthodox. So when all said and done, Snow is doing pretty reasonable with his follow-up here, and Speed will have a hard job now compounding that advantage he had in the early game.
Well, the problem on this map is that 4th base is not easy to take. Speed is really going to have a hard time extending all the way to top left in order to secure a base there. So I think we're going to see him wait for +2 and then go for the kill on the 3rd again. If that doesn't work, he's going to have a really hard time in this game. If he kills the 3rd of Snow, then maybe Snow kind of abandons that base, he gives it up, and, you know, sends probes down to bottom left. We could still have a longer game, but Speed really does need to make some progress here with this attack. He's got a lot of units. He's even on supply again. Running forward here on top of the Reavers. He gets the shuttle. Big mistake from Snow, not picking up in time and not getting the greatest return Scarabs either. This has really opened up the position for Speed. He could definitely get in here and kill this 3rd now.
No, this is looking better and better for Speed. He's definitely got a bit of a timing window to try and go for. Snow's trying to run it down with the Zealots in the front line of the tanks. There's not a lot of vultures to buffer against that, but it doesn't matter. Good unsiege from Speed, deals with that in pretty quick succession. He's now going to start leapfrogging his tanks down to his 3 o'clock position. Finally, we start to see some High Templars out on the field, though, and another massive round of Zealots. So hopefully Speed doesn't spread himself too thin, because eventually Snow might be able to squash this attack like a bug if he's not careful and positions his tanks incorrectly. He's going to start to run it down onto these tanks on the high ground that are threatening this Nexus already, and there might just barely be enough from Snow to stop this attack, but equally from Speed, if he just keeps rallying down units here non-stop, there might be too much steam in the engine of Speed for Snow to halt that advance. So this could go either way. He's running into the storm. That's a bit of a mistake from Speed. Tanks are also a bit clumped up, but the Dragoons all choked up on that cliff face. Couldn't get into good firing positions. This is now looking better and better for Speed.
It's hard to push up this ramp right now. He's got to take it very slow and steady. Try to slowly inch up here into a position where he can start to hit that Nexus. Another great storm there in between the tank shots. Another storm still dealing damage here. As long as Snow delays this long enough to really get those bases in bottom left online, he's already got one of them up. He's starting to extend onto another base here. As long as he just slows this down enough, he's going to be fine. He can let go of this third, and then it'll be up to Speed to push down to bottom left or go for the natural or try to extend all the way up to top left to get another main online, and none of those are really easy options for him.
Yeah, Snow's doing a good job of just playing delay tactics with this, and will happily eventually sacrifice this third base, and then just, compensating with having all these bases down in the bottom left, like you say. So honestly, this isn't too bad for Snow, but Speed is trading really well, and if he can get these tanks into good firing positions in that bottom left and knock out the cannons and stuff, this is going to be great for Speed. He's kind of like leapfrogging his own win condition, and these vultures are actually going to be super annoying at that base of the 6 o'clock, denying a lot of mining time there from Snow. The Snow has to address that. He's going to send units down to that 6 o'clock to respond, while he's also hammering on some of these other expansions, cutting off a lot of the mining time for Snow. This isn't going to completely cripple the economy for Snow. He will eventually stabilize, but this will also open up the position for Speed to more efficiently kill the base at the 3 o'clock.
This is a really good move from Speed. I mean, it's tempting to send everything to this location to just try and kill this base as quickly as possible, but that small contingent of forces that was sent down to bottom left actually created enough of an annoyance for Snow. Okay, he's gonna move to the middle. That's actually interesting. I like this play from Speed, trying to take the middle right now. Taking the top right would be way too hard, and trying to win the game right now would be difficult as well. These are some great mine connections. So many Zealots are dying here so darn quickly. He's gonna gun down the shuttle as well. Shuttle, oh, it's so close. I think it's on like 1 HP right now. It does manage to pick up that Reaver and bail out, but Speed is pushing forward with some strength here after kind of taking out that center right. It's not dead yet. The Nexus is still alive, but he's done so much damage there that I don't think that Snow's going to be able to mine from that location anymore. Oh, the storms, though. Oh, man. Speed, I think, messing this up at the 11th hour, kind of throwing his army in here to the natural rather than just securing the middle.
Yeah, it's a little bit lopsided of an attack here from Speed, but it might still be successful. The problem is he's lost so many of those tanks now. He's still getting into the face of Snow. This isn't terrible. He's going to kill some probes and annoy Snow a little bit here, but yeah, that middle base is so important. This is basically how Terrans approach the map Retro, because getting a 4th base on Retro was almost impossible. You kind of had to take the center, and a similar thought process has now been enacted on these kinds of maps as well, where the 4th base is so far away and allows you to remain aggressive, and you can defend by attacking right now. A little bit of an issue though. I think he sent the SCVs to mine the center before the CC was finished, and now he's been very long distance mining. So for a short period of time, there's very little income for Speed, since there's only one base for a short period until those SCVs get back to the center. center. Is there enough for Speed to run it down at the moment? He was in such a great position just a moment ago, but now Snow chipping away at this forward tank count.
You know, I said earlier that there was going to be a +2 upgrade from Speed, a +2 timing. He's still sitting here on 1-1. He went up to a very high factory count, but never got the starport. So, I mean, I can't believe that Nexus is still alive here, Shun. There's probes heading over to that base, and Speed's just mining off of 2 bases. It's not that much economy with the second base being the center as well. It's barely enough to stay on par here with Snow. Just a few moments ago, we saw Speed was completely even on the overall supply count. Now he's falling a bit behind here, but getting some probes is pretty nice. Oh, the connection there was so close. There's so many probes at this base on so few patches.
Yeah, it's really unlucky. He needed something like that. He needed a bit of a break. He's falling slightly behind in the curve of this game, and this center position is going to be so hard to hold on to. He's trying to run it down in the bottom left. Actually takes out the Reaver and the Dark Templar. There is a response from Snow coming across the map, but it's kind of halted by a lot of mines all over the place, so he's not sure where to move his army exactly. Maybe needs to wait for an observer. Nice snipes here from Speed. It's not bad at all. If he gets that tank into a good firing position down here and stops the mining of Snow, that's going to be super annoying as well. This isn't bad for Speed, but there is a high Templar to clean out that tank. This is such a weird position. I mean, at the end of the day, Terran just needs 2 mining bases to maintain a good production and have a, you know, a lifeline in the game, and he's got that. The problem is he's taking a long time to accomplish his goals now. He's done a great job of being in the face of Snow, but Snow, with that base now mining again at 3 o'clock, will be technically ahead of him in economy, especially once the bottom left gets mining. So the second rally point has been accomplished. There's more mining bases, 4-2 for Snow. This is a losing position for Speed. He has to do something still.
Yeah, he's looking for a kind of final hoorah here. Try and push down one of these bases for Snow, try to force him into a bad trade. He's so light on units. And just cannot get the income that he needs, really. These stacked mineral patches kind of look like fastest possible map patches, but they're not that powerful. They're not that close to the CC, and so the income is just not quite there. He's falling further and further behind. We were even on supply for such a long time here as Speed. He was so close to actually ending this game as he pushed in towards the natural, but a couple of small mistakes. This is another mistake here. So clumped up with these tanks. How can you do this against a Protoss player with Storm? You cannot be putting your last 5 tanks all together in one Storm's width.
No, I mean, it's a little bit problematic for Speed. He had such a great position just a few moments ago, and it's starting to slip through his fingers in a big way. He needs to make progress. He's already behind in upgrades. If he doesn't start knocking out these expansions right here and now, he's gonna eventually lose this game. He's making another big attempt at accomplishing that, and at the very least forcing Snow to come to him, but he has to be so careful. Like, he can't move out of position and let this center base be sniped by Snow as well. So now he runs the risk of spreading himself too thin. That's why you don't see a lot of tanks committed to this attack, because he knows if he goes too far down, he'll spread himself way too thin for Snow to counterattack. So now Speed's in such a precarious position. He still isn't playing catch-up in upgrades, hasn't even got the starport and science facility or anything. He's just trying to run it down with 1-1 upgrades. The longer this goes on, the worse it gets for our Terran, and he's not made enough ground.
I think this is an error here from Speed. Look, he's got 1,400 minerals in the bank, 1,100 gas. He shoved everything towards the center right. Snow can just give up this base. He doesn't care about this base. And then if he kills the middle, then Speed will be on 1 base mining. So, I mean, I mean, he is going to try and fight for this, and he's going to kill a lot of these tanks. Oh my god, the storms are so brutal. And if a flanking army goes and kills the middle, the game is over. I think that Speed's really... he's kind of fallen apart here at the end, I think. He's wide open. He's wide open in the middle. There's nothing defending that mineral line. Snow has some units over on the left-hand side. He can just walk over there and storm that mineral line. Looks like he's going to bring his whole army together and fight the tank line. for whatever reason, but I think he can even just wipe that out as well. He's at 200 supply, 80 supply advantage here for Snow, and there's not that big upgrade advantage to help him weather the storm here of kind of the lack of supply. You know, usually you can fight 150 supply army against 200 Protoss army if you're at 3-3, but he's at 1-1 and he gets overwhelmed. GG is called. Snow on a rampage. All right, Speed's showing some good fighting spirit there in that last game. Wasn't quite able to take down Snow, but it was pretty close, honestly. There were some moments there, especially when he was taking that middle and pushing down towards the bottom right, where maybe he could have made something happen, but Snow always on top of utilizing his utility units like those Templars and Reavers, shutting down small pockets of Terran with even smaller groups of Protoss over and over again, and just getting himself into a better and better position. Now he's here in the top left with Royal spawning bottom left. Can anybody stop this man?
Yeah, I'm not so sure. He seems like he's just on a warpath right now, and honestly, he's been playing out of his mind lately. I'm not going to say too much about that, just because of ASL spoils and what have you. There's a lot of players that have been playing exceptionally well in the ASL though, so that's not really too much of a spoiler. I'm a little bit concerned for Royal. I don't rate Royal as highly as some of these other viewers seem to. I think Artosis likes Royal a lot as well, but he's one of the guys that I've not been that impressed with for many years. I mean, yes, he technically had an ASL title back in the day. I've just never really been that convinced by him as a player, and he's going up against a 12 Nexus from Snow. Look, if he doesn't scout this early and pulls the boys or something, I'm very concerned that he'll just get absolutely outclassed in this game.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of hope for him either. I think that Sharp has a much better chance of taking on Snow, and if both of them go down, who are they even going to revive here on the Terran squad? I don't know. Maybe Speed? Like, he was close. He almost made it work. Maybe he wants a second shot. We'll see.
I just don't see like Speed as enough of a Terran versus Protoss specialist to warrant a revive unless he's playing out of his mind on the day. And I wouldn't say that performance was that great. It was pretty solid, don't get me wrong. He just doesn't have that late game TVP understanding. He's not as decisive with his decision making to keep up with some of these high level Protoss players, I feel. There's going to be a safe variant of the 12 Nexus from Snow, which does mean you have to cut a little bit of probes, so Royal won't be too far behind the curve in this game, but also means he doesn't have any really counter options. Like, if he tries to pull the boys and attack Snow will be lined up quite nicely to have 2 Zealots into 2 Dragoon timing to hold against some of the attacks from Royal. We'll see if Royal wants to go for something like that and just try and attack anyway, but I imagine once he sees the 2 gateways, he'll be hesitant to want to go for something like that. Didn't do it? Okay.
Here it comes. The boys have been pulled. 2 gateways. Cybercore. Snow gonna be under a bit of pressure here. Can he defend properly? First Zealot is out. Sometimes I've actually heard that going 2 gateway makes it a little bit harder to get Zealots out because you don't have enough supply. You don't have that second pylon right away to be able to hold things. So Probe's going to come out from the bottom side. Let's see if he can get on top of these Marines. 1 shot already. Big surround here with the Probes. Here comes the Vulture. He's going to back up. That shield battery just about done, and he's delayed the bunker. This is looking pretty good for Snow. Pretty solid hold so far. He's even going to push this back. The bunker will finish, but a Dragoon is now out. Can he stop the Marines from getting in? He's targeted down 1 of those Marines. Big surround here, getting on top of that Dragoon. 1 of them goes down, but most of the Marines are falling. He's targeting down the Marines that are low on HP. Going to be running by here a little bit farther. 1 Marine in the bunker right now, Shun. 1 Marine only.
Yeah.
If he loses this Nexus, he's lost enough probes here where he's going to be quite far behind. He actually has to save it now.
Yeah, you're not wrong. The one thing going for Snow is that the shield battery will tank the majority of that damage. He actually has to unload the bunker to do direct damage. He won't be able to target that Nexus for some time, since the shield battery will suck up a lot of that DPS due to that positioning. And with the shield battery, he can just, recharge the shields on these Dragoons and just dance around Royal all day. So I don't think that Marine in the bunker is going to be problematic for Snow at all, really. The only thing he could do is maybe unload it now and try and go after these probes with the SCVs in conjunction, but then he can just pounce on the Marine with the Dragoons. So there's no real good counterplay here from Royal. He's going to have to abandon this attack, and even though he killed a lot of probes, there's still 2 Nexuses, so he will, produce 2 at a time and eventually end up ahead.
Yeah, a lot of SCVs went down there too. That was some really solid play from Snow, running around the bunker like that. You can definitely do something like that when there's only 1 Marine in there, but the additional healing from the shield battery as well, just making it so much more viable to just hunt down those SCVs. And I think that Royal may have overcommitted. He overcommitted to that attack. He's going to go ahead and try to target down one of these Dragoons. He gets 1, but a tank traded. That's definitely worth it for Snow. He will retreat with just 1 low HP Dragoon. The other one's still here on pretty solid HP. 2 more Dragoons coming up. He needs a bunker. He needs a bunker right now. Royal is going to be in a lot of trouble if he doesn't have one up.
He's so close to sniping that low HP Dragoon with the arc-light cannon of that tank. Not quite getting it. It's a shame, because if he somehow got that Dragoon picked off easily, this wouldn't be too big of a deal to push back. But with 4 Dragoons here, like, Royal's in a lot of trouble. He just might die. Yeah, this is looking really bad. He just uses one of the Dragoons to suck up the mine shot so he can keep ramming it down. Has delayed that expansion from coming up, and he's going to try and pull SCVs to hold the ramp and stabilize once the next tank pops out. But the reality is he might have to cancel that CC.
So sick from Snow. The anti-mine micro there with the Dragoons is super risky, but it absolutely pays off. No bunker from Royal. He was trying to make up some of the difference by cutting a little bit of a corner there. Just trying to rely on mines to hold. And oh my gosh, that tank is so low now. If he just gets 1 more hit, there it is. Tank is dead. This game is over. Snow is licking his lips right now. 900,000 won in the all-kill prize that he's 1 game away after this win.
I mean, he's playing like he's gonna get it. Like he's not even playing like there's a chance for him to lose. He's got that flash mindset from time old where he doesn't even think that losing is a possibility at this point. The way he's playing is so confident, so self-assured. Does even get that tank from the low ground as well. GG is finally called, and Snow picking up a triplet of kills to start things off. There's 1 player remaining, Sharp, and still with a revive in the pocket. So anything's still possible. Maybe Sharp is playing insane today. He goes on a reverse all kill and they revive him when he finally falls short. That's possible. Technically he could do it, but somehow with just 2 lives remaining for the Terran squad and 5 lives remaining for the Protoss squad, you have to be thinking this is gonna be a whitewash show.
All right, here he is, Sharp. Final Terran player. Final Terran hope here in the top left-hand corner. We got Snow down in the bottom right. He's on a absolute tear. 1 more win, and he'll secure that 900,000 won prize. Maybe buy his baby something nice. He's got the cutest baby. If you've ever seen his stream, definitely check it out.
Yeah, he's got a nice little family, and kind of amazing that he's got a family and he's still able to train enough to stay relevant in the Starcraft scene. So like, hats off to this guy. He's really got it all. Let's see if he can get some points on the board here in this semi-finals. It'll be a bit of a shame if Terran just kind of go down without much of a fight and any takeouts, any knockdowns. So I'm hoping that Sharp can perform and give us some good games, take down Snow at least once. Have to wait and see though. Snow's playing absolutely like a monster right now, so I also wouldn't be surprised if he smacks down Sharp and the revive and gets that all-kill prize.
Yeah, it wouldn't be too much of a shock considering how well he's playing today, and yeah, it's definitely impressive what Snow can do. Not even just staying relevant, I would say, like the top of the Protoss race being contested, of course, by Best. But as it stands right now, I would say Snow probably #1 Protoss player in the world, and that is something impressive.
Well, that could be because of how good his Protoss versus Zerg has gotten over recent times. There was like a year and a half ago or so where he just was struggling in that matchup. There's no easy way of putting it. And he seems to have not only plugged those holes, but he's gradually becoming a bit of a monster in that matchup. It might take him another year to like really figure it out. If he gets to a point where his PvZ is almost as good as his like PvP or PvT, that guy's gonna be pretty much unstoppable. Like, he will just destroy the scene and become a regular champion in the ASL. Like, we could be seeing these guys start to completely disrupt the usual ebb and flow of things. We've gone from like a period of having no Protoss champions to potentially having Protoss champions back to back. So things could get really wild here soon.
I mean, it's totally possible. Certain things have to go right. Of course, there's an element of luck in any tournament match, tournament setting. You need to have things kind of go your way. Of course, the map pool can also affect that in a serious way as well. But Snow just seems so solid. He's so good at figuring out what the opponents are doing, and I think he makes less mistakes than Best as well. That's why I put him ahead of Best. It's just he's slightly more consistent than Best overall, I'd say.
Yeah, maybe so. But personally, I'm just a big fan of Best. Like, some of the games that he wins is just ridiculous. Like, we've seen it in the KCM. Like, his comeback potential is just nuts. You can almost never count him out. He's like the Rocky of the Starcraft world. And he's just, even in the games where he's getting beaten up for the majority of the game, he still somehow comes out swinging at the end. So I just find him an entertaining player to watch in that respect, and I'm looking for more good things for him. But I'd be happy with either Snow or Best finally getting a championship title. They're both well deserving.
Cannot argue with you there. Sharp getting his CC online. Looks like a canceled building here. Not sure what that was. Deciding maybe to get the CC before supply depot. Just stay supply blocked here for a little bit. He is currently supply blocked.
That was the choice, yeah.
Yeah, just not going to make a unit for a little bit while getting this CC online slightly faster.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. I mean, there's some argument for why you would or wouldn't want to do this. Traditionally speaking, most Terran players would be of the mind that you don't skip that supply. You should like always be able to produce SCVs and units, but he felt like there was no pressure from Snow, and cutting a little bit of unit production and air worker production just to get that CC a little bit quicker and ahead of schedule was worth it. And he's gonna double expand. He's doing mine double expand. I mean, this might actually really pay off if Snow doesn't identify this or apply any pressure. I mean, goodness gracious, this could be really effective from Sharp if Snow can't identify this.
Oh my god, this was not a Nexus first either, was it? It was this gateway opener from Snow?
Yes, gateway in the natural,
gateway?
yeah.
That's crazy that he's going to try this against a gateway opener. I mean, it might actually work just because it's so brazen. And he's pushing up here, not only not making a bunker, but sending the Marines across the map like this, loses both the Vultures. This has gone really bad, actually. He's going to completely lose everything. But you know what Snow's not thinking is that there's a third base. He's definitely not thinking that there's a third base right now.
You can bet your bottom dollar that he doesn't think there's a third CC that's about to finish right now. I mean, how wild is this? It's like the 6-minute mark and that CC will be finishing up. And if Snow were to be hyper aggressive, he would not only figure this out, but have a chance of punishing this. The reality is, though, he's going to wait for that observer to pop first. Like, he knows there's mines out on the map, so he's just going to sit back and chill, make his own third base at the mineral only, wait for that observer to come out and then clear the mines and then go and check what's going on. But it'll be a little bit too late by then. We'll have a second factory finishing up by that point. We'll have a few more units squeezed out by Sharp to defend any kind of counterattack. And, you know, Snow has to worry about the possibility of a Vulture run by as well, so He won't commit every single Dragoon possible to the field. There'll be at least maybe one held back, or he'll have to be wary of that and get ready to plug that with a pylon and being built immediately. Everything like that has slowed down this advance from Snow. So there might be just a little bit of wiggle room for Sharp, yeah, to build a bunker at this third, get these 2 tanks out, and maybe be fine.
He's waited till the last possible second to make this bunker, man. I can't believe he's waited this long.
It's so close.
Oh my god. He's going to get one Marine in. Oh no, the tanks finish
Not
up.
like this.
He's going to lose the tanks here. I think this might just be GG, shouldn't? This is so
maybe.
rough. There's 1 Marine in the bunker, 2 Marines in the bunker now, 1 tank over there in the main base, and he can just rally off of 2 gateways and potentially kill this. Definitely the Reaver is not going to be well prepared for. Like, how do you set up here back at home to defend against the Reaver with all this chaos happening?
I mean, to be fair, the mine killed the Zealot and the Dragoon. There's a glimmer of hope, but you're right. This is really down to the bone right now for Sharp. Luckily,
the Observer died too.
Okay, the Observer died. Yeah, I mean, this isn't terrible. He's going to range this bunker. There's going to be a little bit of time for the tank. And his counterattack is okay with the Vulture, but it's going to get shut down quickly. This hasn't gone Sharp's way, but he's not out of the game at the same time. So we could have a very interesting game on our hands where Snow technically hasn't punished this yet. I mean, yes, there's going to be a Reaver on the way, but it's going to take a little bit of time to get there. You know, it's maybe get a few good turret positioning set up, and he has got 2 factories now, so he's gradually churning out some units. The problem is that he's so light on tanks. He's going to have like maybe 4 tanks max by the time this Shuttle and Reaver arrives, and honestly, with having 3 locations to defend, that's not an optimal number to say the least. He'd much rather have closer to 6 or 7. Having to shuffle around tanks to defend against the Reaver harass is not easy to do on 2 bases, much less 3. We'll have to wait and see if somehow Sharp can navigate the tightrope and do cartwheels along it, because he's going to need to do something quite acrobatic.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, once the Reaver gets into the main base and you're forced to pull 2 tanks back, what does that leave? 2 tanks to defend your natural and your 3rd base? It's not going to be easy, that's for sure. Double expansion here from Snow. As a result, he's going to start to expand out and take a bunch more bases. Just kind of get his economy really online here as he begins the attack into the main. He takes some damage on the Reaver. Reaver's going to be hurting here. Gotta start your scanners. Start your scanners, Sharp. Start your scanners before that Academy dies. That's the only reason to have the Academy. You don't want to have to rebuild that just because you didn't start your scanners in time. But he hasn't started them yet. He's just focusing on dealing with this Reaver. The Academy's going to be okay for now. He kills the Goliath. Couple shots targeted onto the Goliath with that Dragoon. Allows him to one-shot it with the Reaver. And so he's able to fly out here without taking any more damage on that shuttle. Nicely done. Not an insane amount of damage. I mean, he killed like a supply depot and a Goliath. So, I mean, he's okay. Sharp is okay right now. He's weathered the first attack, and that was the one I was the most scared for, really, was Snow just coming in, forcing back some tanks, and then, maybe combining that with a Dragoon attack at the front or something like that and ripping Snow apart. But he survived, and so he's okay here on 3 bases.
Well, I would even go so far as to say he's fantastic, and mainly because, he technically should be dead. And he's gone from being dead to having 3 bases mining, thwarted the Reaver harass, and not really taken a lot of damage. This is honestly about as best case scenario for Sharp as we could have hoped for after everything kind of went awry with the bunker not quite being on time at the 3rd base. Everything is kind of aligned for Sharp to do well in this game. Like, he bungled the attack, he bungled the defense with the bunker timing, and he's still in the game with a crisp 3-base timing. This is actually about as good as it gets for Sharp in terms of relative timings. And he's going to get a 7th factory finish soon. He's going to have all the production that he needs in the world. Yes, Snow is still going to have his own fast 4 bases and a lot of Gateway Man style to shove down the throat of Sharp soon. But honestly, like, compared to just losing the game outright, this is great for Sharp.
He's hanging in there for sure. Snow, more bases coming online. He's going to expand to the top right and heading down towards the bottom left as well as he tries to take that mineral only. Continuing to just look for kills on the periphery here, but the vultures will make their way up onto that high ground, I imagine. No, not actually going to come up here just yet. Reaver's going to be in time to potentially shut this down. Gets the probe at least, but some gateways. Oh, Sharp going to get a bunch of kills here. Triple kill on these Dragoons. Really nice move by him. He knew that Snow was paying attention over in this top right, trying to deal with the vultures that are being annoying and harassing, and he just made an excellent move there, killing off a bunch of these Dragoons before a potential push. This is looking pretty good. There's a lot of vultures to come out here with. He can actually start to bully back the Dragoons with a bunch of this unsieged stuff. He's going to jump on top of the shuttle. Can he actually get the kill on that? He gets it. Oh my goodness. Sharp is doing it right now.
I'm getting some nerd chills saying kind of crazy what we're watching right now. He's shutting down Snow. Yes, he hasn't technically stopped this base in the top right. Would have been great if he could with that probe before it started the Nexus and what have you, but this is pretty good. The Reavers are slugging it out in the center of the board, completely not able to shut down the advance of Sharp right now. He's rotating around to the right side of the map. He can either attack the 3 o'clock or just shut down this base in the top right. He's killed one of the Reavers. Snow finally got some High Templars available to him to go into that Gateway Man style. So the Reaver's not super important anymore, but it's certainly not done the heavy lifting it was supposed to and snipe a few additional tanks and slow this advance. So, I mean, this is pretty good for Sharp, all things considered. He can just run it down right now. There's nothing to stop this army getting into a very good position on this high ground.
I think he killed the Observer as well. There's very little chance of Snow breaking this without having an Observer to deal with the mines here. As long as he puts down some mines, those are some great storms. Wow. Storms on this back line coming in just in the nick of time are actually going to shut down a lot of these tanks, killing off a bunch of this army. Can Sharp stay here? I don't know if it's a good idea at this point. He's been reduced so much. It's very risky to just stick around with this army. If he retreats right now, he can definitely pick up a 4th base, but he stays, and now he's going to lose the majority of these tanks, man. So much of this is going to go down.
I mean, he's giving so much good value trades to Snow with the clump tank. Just 2-for-1, 3-for-1 value deals all day long, making Snow a happy shopper. He's going to clean up the majority of these tanks as well. That's a pretty good mine connection, but honestly, he's lost the bulk of his army, and he's taking a 4th base at the 12 o'clock behind this, but he can't afford to be aggressive anymore. He's going to have to cycle units over into defensive positions now, and that alleviates a lot of the pressure that was on Snow. Snow's going to expand to the top right natural, the mineral only in the bottom left quadrant now as well. So, I mean, these were some really good ideas from Sharp, but the execution was suboptimal. This is a great interception, though. Killing these probes, that's definitely a big win. Definitely a great consolation prize here for the Terran player, keeping his hopes alive in this game. The problem is that most of these vultures might be shut down in the top right, which is actually a large portion of his standing army right now. The fact that he's getting all these probes makes up for that. Nice pylon that just shut down the run-by, though. Snow on top of his crisis management as well. Like, this is a really good game, Sam.
That was a sick pylon, having the probe back there, just barely able to make that in time to prevent the run by. Catching some vultures here in the middle of the map as well. Sharp trying to stay very active as he does to try and get value whenever he can with these vultures. And, you know, he's catching some things here and there. He's caught that probe transfer. He's getting some hits on these mines. For sure, these are good things that are allowing him to kind of macro up back at home. He does not have +2, though. I'm really curious if he's going to be upgrading that, or is he just going to do what Speed did last game, make another giant army and try to attack?
I think he just recently finished a starport, so I think he's going for it. It's just going to take him a little bit of time to get there, but at least he has that condition. It's not like he's just trying to run it down with 1-1 the entire game. He is now trying to transition and catch up in the ebb and flow of this game with some upgrades. It's just going to take him a little bit of time to get there. Inversely, Snow is going to explode with the amount of resources available to him for the time being. I mean, he just has almost the entire map. Once he gets a 3rd rally point in the bottom left, it's pretty much lights out for Sharp. Sharp has to identify some kind of attack timing over the next couple of minutes or so. He's choked up this fourth base with a supply depot in the wall, but he's not fully walled it off, so Snow could still come in here and challenge this with that massive train of Zealots. They are still being funneled quite reasonably well, so we'll be able to gobble up a lot of that with some good value trades, but he will still lose some tanks in the process, so this isn't a total write-off for Snow. And he's got so much economy behind him that he can keep remaxing as well. But Sharp could find an attack timing after winning one of these fights and swing the tempo back his way and try and get the pendulum swinging back onto the other side of the board again.
Yeah, this was not bad for Sharp, honestly. So many Zealots stacked up on top of each other. We're taking a ton of splash damage, and so Snow ate through some of his bank. He is starting to gather that bank up once again. Sharp banking up some minerals as well. We'll be maxing out here shortly. +2 going to be finishing up soon. I think that'll be the timing for Sharp here. Once he's got the +2 done, he's going to try to throw some drops out on the map, keep Snow a little bit busy so that he's not completely focused here on preventing the move out. Sharp needs to make some space for himself so that he can unsiege and move forward with some confidence once he's ready here with that +2 coming online.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right, but the problem is that I think Snow's identified that. And he's got the gateway starting to come up in the bottom left now. I think by the time the +2 Evans is finished and Sharp executes his attack, it might start to be too late. It's going to have to be a masterfully executed attack order, and he can't afford any tank clumping like he did last time. That's one of the biggest issues with a lot of matchups. Like, say you unborrow and move lurkers across the map and borrow them again. If they're clumped up, you're in trouble because the storm value is too great. This is a great maneuver from Sharp, though. Double drop in the top right and the middle only in the bottom left as well. This is the kind of maneuvers we need from the Terran to catch up in this game. He's killed a lot of the probes up here in that top right quadrant. Potentially getting a lot done in the bottom left as well, but he wasn't target firing with that tank. It's just hitting buildings for the most part, so not the greatest of double two-pronged attack, but certainly shut down the mining temporarily, so I would say worth it overall from Sharp here, but he needs to expand again and find an attack vector soon.
That was so sick. Yeah, really good play there from Sharp. He actually killed every probe in top right. Every probe went down there, so I mean, although Snow has a pretty decent bank, that's really going to hurt his economy. It's going to take him a while to get those probes back up once again. He's diving here into the natural, or at least towards this natural, getting some great trades with the Reavers here. Target fire on the Reaver. He does manage to get one of them, but this is so much damage, so much reset on those tanks. Can Snow push into the center left, though, and deny this base? It's pretty wide open. Sharp's going to have to pull everything together to try and stop this. He needs this next base online now.
It's just crazy how Snow's like one of the only players on the planet that could be getting value out of Reavers at this point in the game. It's 90 minutes 30 and he's still churning out damage with those Scarabs. Look at how many tanks he's destroying, and he has High Templars behind this for the Gateway Man as well. It's just he's getting so much value town with these Reavers for the time being. He's just sticking with it. Now I'm going to try and run it down onto this base at the 9 o'clock as well. Sharp trying to respond to that, but the Reavers still doing ground and pound on anything that comes their way. Look at the hot pickups as well. The target firing on the Goliaths with the Scarabs. There is no counterplay that's come his way for so long. Finally taken out that shuttle with a Hellfire missile combination, but the damage is already done. 22 kills, now 26 on that Reaver. It is crazy how he squeezes that much juice out of the orange with those units.
Wow. I mean, only Snow can do an attack like that and get that much value out of the Reaver. Truly one-of-a-kind player. So impressed with what he's able to accomplish there. Sharp reeling from all that damage. He's going to take some more. Another Reaver arrives here at the 20-minute mark, just doing even more damage, killing off more tanks here. 11 kill Reaver is looking to best that top score. Not going to happen here just yet, but he's going to pull that back and use it as a defensive tool as Sharp tries to push down towards the bottom left. He really wants to get some momentum going here, but an attack comes in from Snow, hitting the army at the rally point. Actually, this is going really well for Sharp here. This attack is getting shut down pretty handily, and now he can push down here towards this bottom left. Snow a little bit on the back foot. 14 kill Reaver. That might go down here. I think he's going to get it. Yeah, he does finish it off. Now can start to kill this Nexus on high ground. If Sharp takes out this base and starts to take control of the bottom left, he could split this map in half still.
He certainly can. He kind of needs to do it. That's like his win condition, really. He can't go onto the other side of the map. I think there's a drop at the 12 o'clock as well from Snow that we're not getting on screen right now. Absolutely wildness that's happening on all fronts. Yeah, definitely there's something going on at the 12 o'clock at the moment. I'm not sure if that's a storm drop or just some zealots that have been dropped onto tanks or what have you. We'll probably get a little bit of a shot on that on screen eventually. I mean, Sharp's kind of making it work. There's the drop that we see at the top center now. It's not really done a lot of damage, but I think it cleared out a few siege tanks there and what have you. I'm a little bit concerned that what Sharp needs to do is very tricky to execute, but he does have a path to victory, and he has started to accomplish some of those goals. There's not a lot of resistance for at least a few moments here. Eventually, a lot of units will start to stream across the map from Snow to intercept this army that's being set up down here. I'm not sure there's enough tanks that are being rotated to this offensive to make it work, however. And he's got these bridges to choke up Snow, but there's not enough tanks behind them. He's going to have to tap out. GG is called, and Snow takes down every single Terran player. There is just one revive in the pocket of that Terran squad, and who are they going to give it to?
Alright guys, we're here for what could be the last match of the night. Speed has been revived over here in the top right hand corner. We got Snow down in the bottom left, and as we get into this potential last match, I'll let you guys know that we started a new Patreon page. You might have heard of it from our ASL cast, but it's Saiyan Shun Duo Cast, and we're going to be splitting that money. We're going to be splitting that income from the Patreon there to support all of our ventures, including the SCSL, the KCM, and the ASL as well. We may actually have more to come also as we continue to do this little co-cast thing that we've been doing for about, what, almost 2.5 years now?
I think it's coming up to 3 years soon. Yeah, it's been a while now.
For sure. Guys, so if you want to check that out, I'm going to put a link in the description. Appreciate all of you guys who have been supporting so far. It's been pretty overwhelming, especially I think a lot of you guys who maybe never heard of the KCM before, maybe coming over to it now. Shout out to you guys who saw us in the ASL or saw us from Starcast TV and coming over here to check out the KCM. We appreciate you guys as well. This is an awesome tournament, and it does have a kind of best of one format where players are sent out. It's kind of reminds me of old Pro League, don't you think, Shun? Where you put together a team, but it's all based on the races. So you've got players who maybe generally don't hang out, maybe they don't talk to each other very much, but they have an opportunity to play together as one race and communicate with each other and, you know, swap strategies and swap ideas for how to take on certain players and try to work together to earn some money here in Starcraft Broodwar. So it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it really is, and thank you so much to all of your support, guys. It means the world to us. He's not exaggerating when he says it's been a bit overwhelming. I've been very blessed to have such strong support from you guys, and we even got a guy in the ASL crowd holding up a sign, Emmanuel, the French guy. Big shout out to you. Definitely on a bit of a feel-good vibe right now, and I think, yeah, we have the PayPal's on that Patreon page as well. The link will be in the description for the Patreon page if you couldn't be bothered to listen to what we were talking about that. But we also have like a spoiler-free schedule for the ASL there and a few other updates. And we'll be looking to do this for many years to come, hopefully. And this is a great game that's turning into a bit of an retro RTS and could be around for many years to come. And we're all here for it.
So looking into this game, Shun, Snow has gone for a really greedy expansion, about as greedy as you can go for without opening Nexus first. The Radion's very common to see Nexus first, but he's thrown down the Nexus on, I believe it was 19, so skipping over the Dragoon initially to get that Nexus out as quickly as possible. And there's not really a lot of way to punish this. Speed, he sees what's going on here, but it's not like he can pull SCVs and try to fight this cross map with, you know, Dragoon already out. It's going to be very hard.
Nor would you probably want to. Like, against a 12 Nexus, you can kind of justify it, but in this situation with cross map, it's very little that you can really get done with that, and you're just putting yourself further behind most likely. So yeah, this is just better to play a more orthodox follow-up here from Speed, get his own CC going, and it's honestly not that badly timed. Like, this will probably be one of our most balanced games of the evening, maybe even. And I mean, there's some potential that he gets a good mind connection with this one. That's beautiful body blocking from Speed. That is great body blocking. He's going to kill this Dragoon. Wow, that's seriously high level stuff with the body blocking. Shaving off the shield with the true damage, since these concussive fragmentation grenades do basically true damage with the 20 HP to the shields, but not the whole damage. So he shaved off the shield perfectly. He's going to get this off. What are we even watching from Speed right now? How is he? He just turned into Neo, looked at the agent from the Matrix, said no, and is now killing everything. What is happening? This is like the end of the first Matrix film.
That was incredible. I mean, it all comes down to that first block on the Dragoon, getting all that damage and the kill there. It has allowed him to snowball this into an incredible amount of damage. And oh my god, the surround there was almost perfect. He actually almost killed that Vulture for free. But in the end, this is going to get 3, 4, 5 kills potentially. Oh, a mine on the wrap too that deals so much damage to this Dragoon. Going to try to lay down another mine here, and that's just going to be so annoying. Oh my goodness, he almost gets another connection here on that, and some probes. More Vultures coming. This might actually end right here, right now. He's dealing so much damage to him.
I mean, technically Snow's in the game, but let's be real. He lost so many probes that this should be a Speed victory. Like, Speed has to throw this game to lose this. As casters, it's our job to kind of point out that, you know, a player's not technically beaten yet, but the reality is Snow is so far behind in this game. He lost so many. That was so expertly executed from Speed. I can't even begin to explain to you how insane that was. And he's doing it to Snow of all people. That just blows my brain, how the high level micro that we were just privileged to witness, saying the body blocking, the shaving off the shield, the mine connections were just flawless from start to finish, and Snow was even trying to respond appropriately to that. It wasn't like Snow was playing bad all of a sudden. He was trying to micro his heart out too, and just got shut down.
Yeah, really solid micro play from Speed. I was questioning a little bit bringing him out rather than either Sharp or Light, but he's definitely showing up in a big way and putting the hurt Snow, really shutting him down here early. And he's done so much damage. Any sort of a follow-up is going to be hard to defend, but a 4 factory play right off the bat to just try to end things, I think this is one of the more solid ways to deal with the Snow at this point, to really turn the screw here. He's even killed the probe that was trying to take the 3rd base, kind of denying that, even though like taking a Nexus right now is the worst thing that Snow can do. He's going to be under so much pressure here in a second, but just the fact that he's keeping the observers on Snow's side of the map is actually making it so that Snow has no idea that this attack is coming. He is just going to be completely caught off guard. Diving in on top of these Dragoons, he's going to shove them to the left-hand side. There's not a lot of space for him to run away. Big mine connection there actually kills quite a few Terran units as well, but he's driven these Dragoons all the way to the corner, and now he can turn around and start to move into the natural here. Still has the Observer alive, so he can clear these mines behind. 2 Dragoons is all that Snow can muster at the rally point. More mines coming up here from behind. Target fire is pretty good. Mine connection as well. He's killed the last Dragoons, and GG is called. Speed takes down Snow and gives a little hope to the Terran race. Wow, they're going to bring back Snow. Incredible performance in that last game by Speed. And here we are on Screaming Sea for the rematch. Snow says re-game. Go, go. And here we are with this, again, potential final match. Snow has been killed. He's revived now. So the revive is gone. If Speed wins this match, can he reverse sweep? That would be insane.
Might be. I mean, I certainly think it's possible. And honestly, it would kind of put the fear of God in you if you were like, say, someone like Stork or Bisu, and you saw Speed just rip Snow apart 2 games in a row. I mean, that would kind of take all the momentum away from the Protoss squad. And let's be real, none of these other guys have warmed up yet. Speed would be feeling quite hot off the back of that victory, and all these other guys would be struggling to find their ebb and flow. And as a result, I would say that a comeback is not necessarily likely, but certainly possible.
Well, Speed got a bit of a miracle with the micro. Like, we hardly ever see something like that, right, Shun? Like, blocking that sort of highly technical block with the Vulture to prevent the Dragoon from running away while, you know, you're shaving the shields off with the Vulture, and then the mine connects and you don't take damage on the Vulture. It's like everything goes perfectly right there. Can we get another situation like that? Well, it's definitely not going to be a normal game here from Speed on Screaming Sea. You're going to have to do something a little bit unorthodox just because of the unorthodox style of the map. But maybe that goes into Speed's favor.
I mean, I'm just stoked that we get to see this map as well. So I'm happy that Speed is going to be taking this series to a little bit of a distance, even if this is the final game. I'm happy that it wasn't a total whitewash and we got to see this map as well, because it's given us such great games. It is going to be a gasless expand from Snow, actually. Just a bit of a greedy play about being totally risky, so he has some counter to a proxy barracks shenanigans or something. So I mean, the reality is that we could have a really fantastic game on our hands now. I'm so super curious about what these 2 players have got cooked up on this map, because not only have we not seen this map a lot, we've not seen a lot of PVTs, and statistically speaking, for this matchup, this map is pretty even.
Another 19 Nexus. I'm surprised we don't see Nexus first. I guess he doesn't want to take the risk that Speed does something cheeky like a BBS and wins the game immediately, so he's going to be a little bit careful here. But again, going for that 19 Nexus.
It was a bit faster than that.
Oh, was it? Okay. Like
Because it was gasless,
Nexus?
yeah.
Right, gasless.
It was
okay.
gasless, so it was a little bit quicker, yeah.
So he's being even more greedy this time, getting that Nexus out. Definitely you can be greedy on this map, 100%, because of the rush distance. It's just, it leans into greed basically more than any map right now in the pool.
Right. This is kind of strange, because like on the one hand, you would think that, yeah, you have to play greedy, but that also opens you up to some counterplays as well. If you play greedy and expect the same of your opponent, sometimes, you know, typical aggression might still pay off despite the longer rush distances and what have you. So, yeah, sometimes we see like proxy factories on this map and that kind of stuff. Not the case so far. Seems like Speed playing somewhat orthodox and mid-range. We'll have to see if he's got anything else that's cooked up. And he hasn't thrown down a starport or anything just yet, so doesn't look like it's anything too fancy, but he actually might get in here. The Dragoon is out of position in the mineral line. Hang on a second. He's going to get into the main base with this Vulture and potentially kill like 2 or 3, maybe even 4 probes. This is crazy. This shouldn't happen, and he's doing it.
Wow. I mean, nice surround there with the probes for sure. But this was really solid. and, you know, relentless control on that Vulture from Speed. You saw how he was like rotating around and around in a circle there to keep vision on the high ground and just keep dealing damage. And the moment that he saw the Zealots switched to try and prevent the run by, or to try and prevent the Zealot from going down, excuse me, he just dives for the Zealot that was on a little bit HP, gets in. You can see Snow maybe a little bit flustered here, mining 4 on gas at the main base. He's definitely having a hard time keeping up with Speed today.
Oh, absolutely. He finally does cycle off one of those probes, I think, to build a spotter pylon. But, I mean, yeah, it's not optimal from him at all right now. Snow, in a bit of a bad way. Like, it's not game-ending damage, but you shouldn't really be getting any damage at this point in the game. So really well done from Speed to just find the tiny little timing windows to punish and find some capitalization. And we're going to see this anti-drop set up from Snow. He's worried about a very quick drop ship putting some siege tanks behind that cliff edge. But now that he's committing forces to defend that, it means he's opening himself up at the front. There's a spotter pylon to buy him some time to respond to this. So he scoops up that Dragoon that was set up for anti-drop and is now gonna, you know, put all of his forces to the front line again. But already Speed's in his face.
He can drag this mine. Oh, great kill there on the mine. Speed targets his own mine there. Zealot's right on top of this stuff, dealing a lot of damage to these Marines, but this is way too much DPS. He's gonna shove directly in here. Snow maybe should have made a building to actually delay this a little bit more, buy some more time. Just throwing the Zealots in like that doesn't end up paying off, and now he has to abandon the main. He's gonna pull the probes, try to get on top of this army. Mines on top of everything. These mines, something's gonna go off, something's gonna explode. Everything gets pulled back. There's the explosion. Dragoons fall on the bottom side. Speed has done it. He's actually done it here. He's gonna get on top of this Reaver most likely. Wait, it does finish one Scarab, but it's waiting. He's waiting for another Scarab to be made. There's one more Scarab. Can he deal the damage? Can he keep this Reaver alive? Another mine connection here. This is chaos.
This is pure chaos, and he's climbing that ladder of chaos, saying absolutely insanity here from Speed. He hasn't completely killed Snow yet, but he's done enough damage to more or less start to hammer in the last few coffin nails on this guy. Even going to be start siphoning off a few of the probes, denying some optimal mining, getting behind the patch. Snow having a real tough time trying to stabilize as more and more vultures get to the front line to kill and rip through these probes. Gets another good mine connection on one of those Dragoons as well. He's done such crippling damage to the economy of Snow. Meanwhile, back at home, he's got this natural expansion mining optimally already, so he's not all in at all. This is like just this kind of like a semi all-in pressure play that's been super successful, so we can transition and play a normal game from this, and Snow will have a hell of a time trying to catch up.
Snow in a really tough spot right now. It's not over, but it's about as close as it could possibly be. Speed has dominated him in this fight. Just getting in there with the timing that Snow was not prepared for. A Nexus gonna come up on this island, but Snow's got his starport done. He's gonna make a Wraith, probably a dropship after, try to shut down the potential for this shuttle to be coming in and dealing some harassment damage. Maybe try to go over there and prevent more units from being moved over to that island as well. This is a really good spot for Speed. Can he close?
I mean, it's a great idea to get the Wraith. There is this island expansion coming out from Snow. The Wraith won't be in time to intercept this shuttle. That's going to ferry some stuff over to that as well. So there are some options here for Snow. And the fact that he's got the island expansion as his third definitely makes him a lot safer. But oh, the shuttle is now intercepted. He's going to try and retreat it to the safety of the Dragoons. He will technically save that shuttle. Oh, he's going to dive on it. He's going to sacrifice the Wraith to get the guaranteed kill on that. Not the worst idea from Speed. Better to get some value than none. And I mean, he's going to go for another attack. And now that those units are basically stranded at the 6 o'clock. That shuttle cannot be used to get those Dragoons back to defend. It cannot be used to maneuver that Reaver around that's just popped out as well. So very immobile is Snow for a short period of time, while Speed going on the offensive, getting right into the faces of these Dragoons, cutting off their path of retreat. Kills one of them. Is he going to pull the trigger on going all the way? The tanks are in hot pursuit now as well. Was a little bit slow in bringing those to bear, actually, but they're now starting to roll down.
Yeah, it's actually a really solid snipe on the shuttle, because now he can't transfer probes to that third base either. He's just going to be making one probe at a time over at that third, and so Snow's going to be stuck on two base versus two base for a long time, and he's slugging the Reavers forward here. Actually doesn't lose either of them. I really thought that those were going to be killed immediately. Really good defensive position there from Speed, getting right in front of that army. And here comes the drop as well. Going to start to kill these probes over the wall. How many kills is he going to get before the pull? That's a great shot there, actually killing a ton of probes, and Snow's got to react to this while the attack's coming in the front as well, by the way. Drop going to come over this wall. Speed is creating so much chaos. He's doing such a good job of just taking advantage of it as well. Not able to get the tank out in time, but he's pushing forward here at the front.
Yeah, it's still good damage from Speed, and even though it's not optimal, anything right now is keeping keeping Snow on the back foot and keeping more opportunities for Speed to keep exploiting here. Taking a natural third of his own, while it has another dropship loaded up that could also kill or start to put pressure onto this island expansion. Gets one shot off onto those Reavers, but I think he picked them up in time to avoid a second. So, that's a beautiful body block on those Dragoons as well. He's going to do a lot of damage to Snow if he's not careful. He's going to go for another drop at the 6 o'clock with those siege tanks. That expansion is in a lot of trouble. Snow's going to have a hard time shutting this down. There's even some mines at that 6 o'clock location. Speed is doing it, man, and doing it in style. Here comes that shuttle to help support, but there are mines down here as well. He's going to have to dance around.
Oh, the mine! Oh, sick play from Speed. Another drop arrives here as well. He can juggle this, and he actually kills the Reaver as well. Vultures pop out. I think both these tanks actually took a Reaver shot, so they're going to be pretty low. But the attack into the front at the same time, Speed is a whirlwind. Absolute crazy play from Speed to just dive in on all sides. He's hitting everything at the same time. He's making it so hard for Snow to stabilize, and I don't think he can quite survive this. There's so few units attacking in, but it's just making things so hard for Snow right now.
Yeah, he's almost like taking the role of the Protoss player and just like whittling down as many units as possible to make there never be a critical mass for Snow to fight back. A beautiful mine connection at this island expansion as well. Absolute craziness. 400 plus APM of just whirlwind Terran coming his way. And he's struggling to even set up sufficient shelter to weather that coming. This is absolutely mind-blowingly high-level play from Speed. Now doing some chase micro onto the shuttle as well at the perfect time. Doesn't quite kill it, but manages to dance away with that Wraith to keep it alive and keep the active threat on that shuttle. He's going to intercept the shuttle. He kills the shuttle with the Gemini missiles. Oh my gosh, this is crazy right now. As long as he doesn't make any major blunders, he's got this game in the bag. Snow tries to pounce onto these siege tanks while they're out of position, but that just plays into Speed's hands and forces a cost-efficient trade. He doesn't even kill the tank after the mine drag.
Oh my gosh, that mine drag was sick though. That one Dragoon able to get so much damage going, and he will actually stop this attack. However, behind this, Speed has his third base up. It's even bases, and Snow's not really even mining from that third. Like, he's getting some probes going, but he has taken a lot of damage there, and it's been one probe at a time that's been made this entire time. So he's going to be mining out in his main and natural very earlier than you ever usually would. Dragoon, last Dragoon here is not quite going to cut it. This tank is dealing so much damage. Mine here as well. That's going to deal so much damage here. Another mine connection? Oh my goodness. Everything going so well for Speed in this game.
It's crazy. He's so taxing the task switching ability of Snow, finally breaking through to that natural expansion location. There's just enough rally points set up from Snow as the cycle of units are produced. Oh, he's hitting the base again. It's crazy. It's so relentless. It's absolutely insane what we're seeing here from Speed. He's dancing circles around Snow right now, making him look a little bit silly. And Snow's not even playing bad. He's just struggling to keep up.
Absolutely. I mean, oh, he almost gets the micro here against the tank. Or with the tank versus the Reaver. Almost managing to make that work. Can't quite get the finisher on the Reaver, and so it's going to survive for now. But the pressure is undeniable. Speed so quick with his constant attacks has just landed enough blows here to where Snow is just in kind of an untenable position. He's not going to be able to hold back Speed for much longer. This fourth base is going to be coming online. There's really no way for Snow to bust out of here. He's going to try it right now, but mine connections in behind. This Reaver actually going to help out a lot. Okay, maybe he barely breaks this. Still, drop again, and more units pushing up right now. Another big mine connection, just dealing that little bit of extra damage. Tanks coming up to reinforce this position as well. Speed is everywhere all at the same time.
Man, Snow is barely hanging on by a thread. And honestly, props to Snow for not being dead. Like, pretty much any other Protoss under the sun would have been long dead by now. Just a testament to how well Snow is also playing. But Speed, just a cyclone of damage coming his way, keeping him on the back foot almost the entire game. And just pure relentlessness, forcing out the GG at long last in Speed. Killing Snow twice in a best of 3 and making best Bisu and Stork start to shake in their boots a little bit in the dugout, wondering how they're going to tackle that monstrous Terran who's already super warmed up while they're on cold tires.
Damn, guys, you got to give it up to Speed. Give this man the clapper. Absolutely crazy game there. Such an incredible display from him, making real use out of that 450 APM he had in the last game. Now at 550 here as he opens up. But like a lot of people, that's just for show. You know, you can meet C rank players on the ladder who have 350 APM. It's totally possible to spam, but you can see from that last game, that is not for show. That 450 APM, he's actually moving that quickly, and he's able to get a lot done.
Right. Yeah, and yes, yeah, like you say, you can spam, but if you've ever seen the movie Whiplash, like the final scene of that movie, where he's like forcing him to just play at a ridiculous speed initially, and then he starts showing him to incorporate the rest of the instruments in the drum kit, and he starts playing that fast across the entire drum kit. That's kind of what you do in StarCraft. You kind of spam to warm up initially, and as you get deeper into the game, you translate that speed into task switching ability, and that's what we saw from Speed. Just absolute crazy non-stop action, overwhelming Snow, and Snow was not playing bad. He was, honestly, it was fantastic that he was even alive in that game, and still Speed was smacking him down with constant task switching micro all over the map.
And now that Speed's taken out Snow, his next opponent here on Litmus is going to be Stork. We've seen some pretty good stuff from Stork lately, but look at this micro. You've got to be kidding me. Is he actually going to run down the probe with an SCV? You hardly ever see that.
Oh, he's gonna get
got it.
He's gonna get it. He lost the SCV but still killed the prime. Are you kidding me, Speed? What is happening today? He is like the glitch in the Matrix right now. This looked like it was gonna be a total washout. No Terran wins on the board at all, and Speed not only knocking Snow out twice in a row, but already opening up with fireworks against Stork.
Definitely going to take that trade. I mean, that's like even if that's not a great trade, you know, 1 SCV for 1 probe, I think the moral victory is there, right?
Yes, 100%.
He's doing it for all the Terran players out there who have lost their SCV to a probe in the early game. Just doing it for the boys, taking out that probe on Protoss side of the map. 2 factory here from Speed. He is going to go crazy now and just try to win immediately against Stork.
Now, this might be really strong because it's like one of the only things that Stork's not really thinking about. And he's been studying how Speed played against Snow those last 2 games, and he's thinking about like mid-game optimizations. He's not thinking about super early all-in strategies. So this might catch Stork off guard in a big way, and that's just the reality of StarCraft. If you focus too much on your min-maxing and your mid-game transitions, suddenly a cheese like this can just go ham on you.
Yeah, this looks like a fake double, but it's a real double. 5 Marines and a tank. This is pretty common as a initial push here from the Terran player. And Stork's going to fall back behind his gateway. He's a little bit scared of taking early damage on these Dragoons. Going to let the gateway tank a little bit of that fire. He sees the Vulture now, and Mines is done. He's going to land right in front of these Dragoons. I think he's starting to figure out what's going on here. Definitely more stuff than should be possible at this point in the game. And once he sees these next 2 units make their way to the front, then he's really going to know. A lot of these Marines have died. Uh-oh. This is not going that well for Speed. He is going to get the second tank up here, but he loses both the Vultures, and none of these mines connect.
Oh, this is still okay for Speed. 2 tanks versus 3 Dragoons. Oh, but the tank gets blocked by his own Vulture. That would have been okay if only the Vulture didn't block his own tank on the exit. Now Speed definitely in a bit more trouble. Stork fighting back in a big way, doesn't yet kill this additional tank, so the position is still technically tenable for Speed to continue the aggression and try and get into the face of Stork. That tank is solo HP. He has to be perfect with his micro. He's trying to lay down mines in the wake of those probes and force a full-on evacuation inevitably. But I mean, this isn't terrible for Speed, but it's not super optimal either. He's trying to run it down to the high ground. I don't know if this is a good idea. That tank is going to get sniped.
I can't believe he pushed up that high ground with the tank. Like, that is insane to me.
Yeah, same.
He throws down the CC behind this. He's gonna try to macro out of this spot. Maybe he can get a really lucky mine connection here while the probes are coming down the ramp or something, but there's an observer. As long as he's careful, Stork shouldn't take any more damage.
Oh, the Vulture gets a glitch out on one of the Dragoons. I mean, this is not terrible for him. I see what he's trying to do. He's trying to force bad trades from Stork by glitching them out, by shift-hold laying down mines to then quickly spam the move command on the Vulture to slide on top of the Dragoons and kill them that way. And he's actually got a Vulture in the back here. He's going to kill some probes. So, I mean, call him crazy. He's technically made it work. He's opened up Stork enough to now start to threaten the economy. Oh, he's not paying attention! Oh my gosh, he targets the mine with the probes in the nick of time. Like 2 more frames, and that whole probe train would have died to the explosion radius of that spider mine. Just barely avoiding disaster as Stork right now. Speed with the command center behind this, looking to transition still. And honestly, that was some good compensation damage he was finally able to find in the main.
Yeah, hey, not bad. I mean, the Nexus has been done here for longer, and so he was able to make a few more probes, but it was also shut down for a little bit of time. Wasn't able to mine there, wasn't able to build probes there either, and now the CC is done. So I guess Speed can actually, he can weather this. He can continue on in this game. Usually a double factory play, it's do or die. You either win the game right then and there, or it's just practically over. But Stork is, you know, he's getting out here. He's cleaning the mines. He's gonna be able to get a 4th or a 3rd base online pretty soon. He's actually brought it over with the probe. That's pretty sneaky. I like that a lot because he knows that there's a lot of vultures out on the map to try and snipe this probe. And so just having it in the shuttle makes a lot of sense. Now he can go back and get the Reaver and go on a bit of harassment campaign, but I don't know. I don't know who's super ahead here. I don't think that Stork has a massive advantage, even after holding the double factory play.
I think Stork is in a good position, but not a great one. I think we're just going to have a pretty much playable game from both sides. I mean, technically, Stork could try and run it down. It's just not wise to do that. There's not a strong enough Bulldog potential with the bunker and enough production from Speed behind this. He's technically transitioned successfully. If this was, say, Snow, maybe he'd try and do a lot of Reaver harassment now, but I think Stork's even hesitant to do too much Reaver harassment at this point in time. He just wants to, you know, get his own economy off the ground, get a third base, get as much production available to him, and we'll see a pretty strong macro game from these two individuals, at least for now.
Okay, he's gonna get some vision inside the main. Well, thing I'm always thinking about for Stork whenever I watch him play is, where's the carrier transition? When is the carrier transition going to come online? And I don't know if there's a good opportunity to carrier transition here. He's going to go in with the Reaver shuttle. Can't really see anything as to what Speed's up to. Charon Booster's probably not online just yet. He might be getting that upgrade now. So it's going to be coming online here soon. Yeah, you can see the spinning machine shop right now, and so that's gonna finish up here in a moment. He forces away the Reaver, not really getting any damage there in the main base. Speed doing a very good job holding all of that back, even without the Charon boosters. And yeah, I'm not sure if there's a good opportunity here for Stork to transition. Maybe he has to stick with the double robo play and just go gateway man.
Yeah, he might even just go just like you say, just go gateway man. There's not that many opportunities for him to switch into carrier. He could. The problem is that Speed's gonna make enough Goliaths to push with, so if that shuttle gets sniped by 4 or 5 Goliaths, suddenly you just die and your carrier timing is worthless. So it's a little bit problematic. Also, nice catch from Speed there to shut down one of those probes. Is there another probe down there in the bottom left, or is that a Dragoon? If that's the only probe that was going down there, then that's super annoying for Stork, because Speed is like hanging around, sharking for another probe, so he will not be getting that 4th base online at a crisp timing. Like 11 minutes is pretty meta, but any slower than that, you start to get a lot more mid-range and orthodox, so definitely not having an early 4th base here is Stork. And that's going to make it even harder to keep up with Speed. Speed's got a 3rd command center that's just finishing up. He's going to float that in a second and start pushing now.
Well, his 3rd is pretty late, so I think it's okay for Stork here. Like, you're not going to get... Like, yeah, he's going to start floating soon, but he's not going to get this base online until probably the 13, maybe even 14-minute mark if Stork, you know, starts to slow him down a little bit. So this is definitely okay for Stork here. He's got the 4th base on the way.
No.
He has some shuttles ready. Is he going to dive on this? Is he going to try and shut this down? Because there's a long distance between the natural and the 3rd for Speed. He's got to spread out a lot.
He might, but I would imagine he'd wait for like another 30-40 seconds for the leg enhancements to kick in. He's got 2 speed shuttles that could dive into the back of the line of Speed here. They're going to try and sneak all the way into the main base, but a floating engineering base spots that. Hopefully he was able to identify. I think he's pulling some units back, so he doesn't know that that's what's coming. Yeah, he's got some units cycling back into there now. But 2 shuttles, a little bit dangerous. There's not that many tanks here. Maybe he can still break open this. Scarab kills the mines being laid. Has still got some zealots that can get on top of these siege tanks. And now the Scarab's trying to find connections on the SUVs, killing 3 so far. He's going to evacuate the Reavers now and going for a massive dive at the front. Beautiful play from Stork to pull the Terran out of position and gets caught mid-transit here, completely distracted, getting units back home to defend now, opening up the position on this wedge between the natural and 3rd like you were talking about. So great 1-2 punch combination here from Stork, ripping Speed apart for the time being.
Yeah, I mean, this is really tough for Speed now. He's going to lose his utility units, the Goliaths that are meant to be shutting down these shuttles as they come in to do attacks like this have been removed, and he's going to have to focus most of his time on making tanks to replace what he's lost. He's diving in and getting some kills here at the natural, so that's something, and it's delaying Stork a little bit, so maybe he can get this CC online. It's not like he lost the CC. He's floating it out, but look, 14 minutes, Shun. That's a pretty late third, and on this map specifically, a lot of your bases do run out very quickly, so Speed's really going to be feeling the pressure here.
Oh, absolutely, and like you were saying, it's a hard third to defend, and now he's going to come into the natural while he's trying to fortify that, kill the turret, and start ripping into this SCV line as well. Only 3 or 4 SCVs so far, but now it's a lot more. That's crazy. He's just killed like 12 SCVs total, and going to be ripping through some of those vultures to boot. Stork, for a change, has pretty good Reaver control. Not necessarily snow tier, but good enough to completely thwart the economic properties that Speed had to operate from. And now Speed's in a lot of trouble. Like, he hasn't got the vulture support that he needs to be aggressive. He has to sit and turtle, and he's already taken major dents into his economy.
Yeah, this is a difficult situation here for Speed, who may be looking for the 4th at the center right next. Try to push down the bottom, or push down the vertical axis there from the 3rd. Take the 4th and try to hit that base in the bottom right for Stork, but that leaves him wide open to a counterattack. So he'll have to be very careful with how he's splitting his army, how much army he's leaving back at home, and how much he's using for the attack. Right now, he's in a full-on defensive position. Stork ready to dive on top of him. Here he goes. Can he actually take a good fight here? Seems like Speed hasn't really realized just yet. There it is. The siege up comes. That's a lot of Zealots here. Can he target down the Reavers? One Reaver goes down immediately. Second Reaver here still alive. Zealots getting on top of a lot of these tanks. Still quite a few tanks here to the south. But there's so many Zealots falling upon this army. Tanks are going to be targeting down on these Dragoons now, but there's a little bit too much here, and too many tanks were lost. This might be lights out for Speed.
The dinosaur toss still has a lot of bite left in him, and he's chewed through the majority of that Terran metal. Not many tanks remaining. It's exactly what Stork needed to do. Now he's also naturally driving a wedge between that natural rally point and the 3rd base location. His reinforcements are going to clean a warpath to that 3rd base now and push up on this northern access to that base to really start to put the hurt onto Speed. I think he's just about done it. Speed can't win anymore. Now this base has been shut down from mining. There's a small counterattack of some vultures, but that's pure desperation. GG is called, and Stork, of all people, slays Speed after shutting down Snow 2-0. That's a big confidence booster for Stork, and it gets the clapper from KCM. Honestly, one of the best games I've seen from Stork in a long time, Zane.
Really nice to see Stork performing at a high level, able to take out Speed there in that final game. Was a bit dangerous with the 2 factory play, but definitely a solid hold from him overall. We saw something similar really on that the map Screaming Sea, where Speed was just putting on the pressure, sending vulture after vulture, and still getting damage over and over again. And we almost had a similar result in this game, but Stork just barely able to hold on. It became a very even game, but I think the biggest move there was definitely the double drop into the main, followed by that giant attack into Speed's army as he was like trying to do both things at the same time. A really good timed attack by Stork to just kind of dismantle the attempts of Speed to take that 3rd base.
Yeah, I've said in the past that there's a lot of similarities between StarCraft and fighting games, and sometimes when you set up these like combinations to try and inflict as much unblockable damage from your opponent as possible is the way to go, and we saw Stork do that. The 2 shuttles into the main base didn't do a lot of damage directly, but it pulled all of the attention and the majority of Speed's forces back out of position and allowed Stork to bring down the hammer at the front line, drive a wedge between the rally point and the 3rd, and go for a masterful army trade, as well as a final win condition of getting his rally point reinforcements onto that the last mining base of hope for Speed in that game. Just so expertly done from Stork. We don't usually see very strong games from him recently, but that gives me some hope that we'll see more from him in the future too.
Yeah, I'm expecting some more great games from him. I wonder if they'll bring him out versus Zerg here in the finals, guys. That's going to be coming up next week. It's going to be an epic conclusion here to an awesome season of the KCM. And fittingly, it's going to be Protoss versus Zerg at the end here. I'm sure we're going to have a lot of great players come out. I want to see Effort. I want to see Soma. Who else are you looking forward to seeing in that finals?
It'd be cool if we even saw Lava show up, honestly. Like, those are like the three guys that have been away from the scene and have only recently came back to it. So personally, I would love to see all three of them join us. I don't necessarily think Lava's quite as good as some of these other guys, but he seems like he's in pretty good shape still, so that'd be kind of fun. But I mean, there's so many other great gamers out there, Action, Hero, Sulky. The problem is that some of these other guys have not been performing at their A game lately. So yeah, you might be looking more towards players like Soma, like Effort to do the heavy lifting.
For sure. Jaedong's been playing kind of out of his mind recently too. Would like to see him in that final. Of course, Snow, Best. We could be having Bisu in there as well. I'm not sure who would be the fourth Protoss player to send out for that finals. But guys, that's all going to be revealed on next week's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate you guys, all the support, the love that you guys have been sending. Every comment, every like is very much appreciated, and we will see you in the next episode.
Thanks, guys.